Here we have an example of an anatomy fail. AI has been getting a lot better at drawing anatomy. Some time ago, when I started using, for example, Stable Diffusion, I started in version 1.5 on Stable Diffusion 1.5, and the hands were hideous. For whatever reason, the way the generative model was created did not allow it to understand that some things are set. For example, the number of fingers on a hand, or the number of eyes on a head, for example. This is the kind of intrinsic intuitive knowledge for us humans, but not so much for a machine. It's only an algorithm, it's not a sentient being. So we know that, for example, while people's noses and faces vary in shape and size, every single person in the world, at least theoretically, has 5 fingers on each hand. The AI was not granted this specific knowledge that you should have 5 fingers on your hand. There are some workarounds for it. There are many kinds of LoRa's, and people created ControlNet, and there were open pulse mechanisms. And these are all workarounds created by the community to integrate, so to speak, to add knowledge to the model. What these add-ons are doing is pretty much telling the model, do your thing, but within these parameters. Every human should have 5 fingers on each hand. So create a human, but keep this in mind. However, this is less and less necessary because newer versions of AI generative models such as DALL-E 3 tend to be better at generating the most basic, the most fundamental anatomy. So usually with DALL-E 3 you get the correct number of fingers on each hand. Not always, not necessarily the correct number of toes on each foot. So here is an example when I asked for some kind of cathedral that was being held by a pelvis or something like that, and it gave me a quadruped pelvis, a pelvis with 4 legs, a 4-legged pelvis. This one might be a bit harder to correct. However, if I were to try to correct it, I would simply erase the legs on the back here, and I'm pretty sure I think it would look something like a normal pelvis, albeit the number of toes is still wrong. Something that could also be corrected. Once again, part of the idea, should I discard an image or should I try to iterate upon it and modify to achieve my vision, is how important is your vision, what's the magnitude of the project you are working on, and how easy would it be to get a similar image. For example, if you are working on a paid project, you got a contract to develop an AI image for a campaign, for example. So it's actually an important project, you are getting paid for it. And you manage to create an image that looks just like what you want, but it has an extra set of legs, for example. You should definitely try to correct it. You are almost there and this is an important project for you. Now, if you're just creating something to post on Instagram today, and you've generated 20 nice images and there is one that looks a bit weird, just discard it. There is no reason to waste any time on it. Here's another example. This one I might try to correct because I think it somewhat looks nice. It's a 150-meter high hand statue by the sea, hand bones statue. And you can see that the reason it got it wrong is because it's in an unusual position. The hands like forming a fist and the fingers are bending a bit inwards. But if you count the number of fingers with attention, you come to the conclusion there are most likely 6 or 7